was. Here she had the most luxurious surroundings because Maria had married Ada, who came from this wealthy family. But here she was in Holland. She was old. She couldn't speak a word of Dutch or understand it. And I was there when her grandchildren came into the room, and one of them knocked something over, and quickly they ran and hid behind the sofa. She complained in Holland, and when she was in England, that the skies there were always grey. I felt sorrow in with great admiration for this very, very great woman. She was often angry at misrepresentation. One occasion was when she was supposed not to like children showing imagination. This arose because the sensorial materials each have a specific function to teach, and so are meant to be used in a particular way. For instance, a cylinder block is meant to have the fun of dropping one thing into another and is graded in size so that they can feel the different widths or depths, as well as training the writing fingers with the knob. She had no objection to a child playing trains at another time, but not with the cylinder blocks. Montessori, when explaining this, said that obviously imagination is the most important tool of intelligence, and without imagination there would be no new inventions and no progress. Man has to be able to imagine something if it hasn't yet been made. She said that imagination should therefore be greatly valued. The sensorial materials are there to sharpen the imagination. For instance, the color tablets enable the child to imagine something light or dark green or blue-green, and so add to the richness of his imagination. She was also frustrated when teachers missed the meaning of the sensorial feel of the material. For instance, of the pink tar. It's meant as a way to feel arithmetical progression. And she found teachers being too pedantic in the way that they asked the child to build and take it down, and said to me in despair, "They even tried to tell me how to build the pink tar." Of all the things that I heard her say, though, and that I think is so very, very profound for us all, no matter who we are, what our qualifications, anything, and that is when she said so often, "Spotlight the good, and the good will grow." And what do we do? And what does the media do all the time? So we should try really hard in our schools and with our children, and I'm a parent of 3 and a grandmother of 6, to spotlight the good. For instance, supposing you have a child, this isn't in the script, supposing you have a child and the writing is not very good. If you say to the child, "I can see a word that's well written. I wonder if you think it's the same one. Which do you think is the best one that you've written?" And in finding it, he's correcting himself. Instead of you saying, "Not good enough writing." So, spotlight the good and the good will grow. Children feel the need for positive remarks. By the way, I have a tremor. I am, of course, nervous, but it's not nervousness, it's neurological. Children feel the need for positive remarks and attention. And if parents are too busy and the children don't get the positive attention, they will misbehave just to get the attention that they need. Now, we have just had the brain research, which shows how important positive thinking is. And positive thinking is shown in MRI scans. And what I found very interesting recently is the MRI scan when someone is contemplating. Now, contemplation is the highest form of the intellectual and spiritual together, coming so that you know the reality, the realness of a transcendent being. 10 eminent scientists collaborated with the Dalai Lama and produced what they knew from the MRI scans. And they saw that the left frontal lobes of the brain light up when thinking or speaking positively. This is the same area of the brain that becomes active when we're happy. So we're happy if we think positively and not negatively. When negative thoughts or when speaking negatively, the right frontal lobes lit up. And this same area is the active area when a person is depressed. So we do ourselves good when we notice things to comment upon positively with our children. And it is the same left frontal lobe that lights up and is active during contemplation. The Montessori environment and the directress allow the children, of course, to progress at their own rate, to build on their own understanding within a positive environment in the way that allows their own unique nature to thrive. Isn't it extraordinary when you think that you, nowhere else in the world, with all those teeming millions, is there another person just like you or me? Perhaps you think it's a good thing. At any rate, it is most remarkable, this uniqueness. It shows we have our part to play. No one else can play it for us. Montessori's main gift to the world is showing the 4 main stages of development that all human beings go through, whatever their nationality, their culture, their economic or their social status. And we disregard this at our peril. She showed us how to feed each stage in an appropriate way. Stage 1, from fertilization to 6, 2, 6 to 12, stage 3, 12 to 18, and stage 4, 18 to 24, not 21. How interested she would have been in the results of the MRI scans and the DNA information, because she was such a wonderful doctor herself and held the university chair. Now, I thought you would be interested in this. I was very interested. You know how different men are from women and women are from men. True? We know now that in the embryo, at only 6 weeks, the boy's brain is different from the girl's. We now know that. And it develops differently. We now know the great differences in brain development of each of these main stages, and she would have made use of this information to go with her